All right. This is Loki from the New Orleans Oral History Project, and we've got McClinttock here, who's going to share a few words with us about the ongoing situation with the oldest Baptist church in the South. Mr. McClinttock, please.
Yes, I'm on the board here on the park that represents the park, and the John T. Curtis family, who's claiming ownership of the church and has privately hired a demolition firm that was been publicly sanctioned by the city, which is his own question right there, that private funds can be hired and actually hire the city to do anything, has claimed ownership to the church, and in fact it turns out that they very likely do not own it, and they can't produce any chain of title or any proof of ownership for an entire church and piece of property which they claim that they own. The city councilwoman Stacey Head has come down here asking for proof of ownership. They can't produce it. She checked with the state under the state title. It hasn't changed since 1927. It says the Baptist Church of Coliseum Square. By their own bylaws, it can then therefore not be owned by a private family. It has to be voted on through a non-profit organization. There's no show of vote. There's no show of questions. The John T. Curtis family has put up their own funds to privately tear down a building that they do not own. This is tantamount to me. As my next door neighbor goes out of town, I hire my own demolition company and knock his building down and claim that I've been to some parties there, so therefore I must own the place. It's the same situation. It's been deemed intact. The main tower by two different engineers was deemed completely intact and serviceable, meaning nothing had to be actually done to it, and it could freestand on its own through another hurricane. And they were given specific instructions about how to tear down the sidewalls and leave the main tower, which is all that we were asking from a neighborhood perspective. The main tower to be left intact so that we can then sell the property, or the property could then be moved on to be incorporated in as a historic and modern monument to the area, or even building or living situation. But the John T. Curtis family has chosen to pull as many stops out as they possibly can, to call as many of their favors in, as many of their friends in, and pass as much money around as they can, so that the city would in fact give them permission in the fastest, most post-haste fashion in the history of New Orleans. The city moves like molasses. To tear something down in the city takes months, if not years. They have achieved something in 24 hours with no proof of ownership, and I'm telling you, heads are going to roll, hopefully, and at the very least, lawsuits will happen, and they won't be able to sell the property that they don't own, as it turns out.
Well, thanks very much.